The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the plate glass windows of First National Bank as Martha Williams, 73, waited patiently in line. Her worn purse clutched against her chest. She'd come to deposit her late husband's pension check, the last one she'd received bearing his name. Martha had been married to James for 52 years before he passed 3 months ago. Today was difficult, another reminder that he was truly gone. She blinked back tears as she approached the teller window. "I need to deposit this, please," she said softly, sliding the check across the counter. The young teller, barely out of college, examined the check with narrowed eyes. "This check is made out to James Williams." "Yes, my husband. He passed in August." Martha's voice wavered. "I have the death certificate right here, and our joint account information. I'm going to need to call my manager," the teller interrupted, her tone sharp with suspicion. Martha felt her cheeks burn as other customers turned to look. She'd done nothing wrong, yet she was being treated like a criminal. This wasn't the first time, and she knew it wouldn't be the last. The manager appeared, a thin man with a permanent scowl. He barely glanced at Martha's carefully organized documents. "Mrs. Williams, we can't accept this check without additional verification. This could be fraud." "Fraud?" Martha's voice rose slightly. "I've banked here for 30 years. You have my account, my identification, the death certificate. Please lower your voice or I'll have to call the police." Martha felt the world tilt slightly. She wasn't shouting. She was simply defending herself. But she'd learned long ago that for someone who looked like her, any assertion of dignity could be perceived as aggression. "I just want to deposit my husband's check," she whispered, fighting back tears. The manager had already picked up the phone. 10 minutes later, 2 police officers strode into the bank. Martha stood frozen as they approached her, hands trembling. "We've received a report of suspicious activity," Officer Reynolds said, his hand resting on his belt. "There's no suspicious activity," Martha protested. "I'm trying to deposit my deceased husband's pension check. I have all the documentation. We're going to need you to come with us," the second officer said, reaching for her arm. "Come with you? I haven't done anything wrong." As the officers began to escort Martha toward the door, she felt humiliation wash over her. Other customers stared. Some recorded on their phones. She'd lived her entire life with dignity, raised 3 children, taught Sunday school, volunteered at the community center. And now she was being arrested in front of strangers. What Martha didn't notice was the group of men standing near the bank's entrance. They wore leather vests adorned with patches and insignia, members of the local Hells Angels chapter who'd stopped in to use the ATM. Big Mike, the chapter's sergeant-at-arms, was 6'4" and covered in tattoos. He'd been watching the situation unfold with growing anger. "Hold up," Big Mike's voice boomed across the bank lobby. He stepped forward and the officers paused. "Sir, this doesn't concern you," Officer Reynolds said. "Actually, it does." Big Mike pulled out his phone. "I've been filming this whole thing. Elderly woman comes in to deposit a check with proper documentation, and you're arresting her. What's the charge exactly?" The officers exchanged glances. "Attempted fraud." "Fraud?" Another Hells Angel member, a man called Preacher, stepped forward. "I'm a lawyer when I'm not riding." This woman presented a death certificate, identification, and account information. "There's no probable cause for arrest here." More club members formed a loose circle around Martha, not threatening, but present. United, Officer Reynolds' face reddened. "We're responding to a complaint from the bank manager." That manager, Big Mike pointed at the thin man trying to hide behind a desk, made a complaint because he didn't want to do his job. "That's not a crime. But what you're doing? Arresting someone without cause. That might be." Martha stood in the center of this unlikely defense, tears streaming down her face, not from fear anymore, but from overwhelming emotion. These strangers, these men society often judged harshly, were standing up for her when no one else would. "Let me make this simple," Preacher said calmly. "Either charge this woman with a specific crime and explain your probable cause, or let her complete her legal banking transaction. Your choice. But know that every second of this is being recorded, and it's already being live-streamed to about 3,000 people." The officers looked at their phones, then at the bank manager, who'd gone pale. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding," the manager stammered. "You think?" Big Mike's voice dripped with sarcasm. Officer Reynolds removed his hand from Martha's arm. You're free to go." "Free to go?" Martha found her voice, stronger now. "I came here to conduct legal business. I'd like to complete my transaction." The bank manager hurried forward. "Of course, Mrs. Williams. My sincerest apologies. There was a miscommunication." "There was discrimination," Big Mike corrected. "Say it right." The manager's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "Mrs. Williams," Preacher said gently, "would you like us to stay while you complete your transaction? Make sure there are no more miscommunications." Martha nodded, not trusting her voice. 20 minutes later, her check deposited and a written apology from the bank president secured, Martha walked out into the afternoon sun. The Hells Angels members surrounded her like an honor guard. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking. "I don't know what would have happened if, nothing good," Big Mike said softly. "We saw what was happening. Couldn't let it stand." "But why?" Martha asked. "You don't know me." Preacher smiled. My grandmother was a lot like you. Proud, dignified, strong. One day she went to vote and they tried to turn her away, said her registration was suspicious. I was too young to help her then. But I'm not too young anymore. We take care of our community," another member added. "All of it." Martha wiped her eyes. "I've been judged my whole life by how I look. And here you all are, judged by your jackets and your motorcycles, standing up for me. There's irony in that." "Not irony," Big Mike said. "Justice. People look at us and make assumptions. People looked at you today and made assumptions. Maybe it's time we all start looking deeper." As Martha walked to her car, the Hells Angels members mounted their motorcycles. Before they rode off, Big Mike approached her one more time. "Mrs. Williams, you need anything, anything at all, you call this number." He handed her a card. "You've got family now. Whether you want us or not." Martha clutched the card, then did something she hadn't done since James died, she laughed. Really laughed. "You know what? I think I do want you. My grandson's always saying I need to make new friends." The sound of motorcycle engines filled the air as the club rode off, and Martha stood taller than she had in months. She'd gone to the bank feeling alone and left feeling protected. Sometimes angels wear leather jackets and ride motorcycles. And sometimes the people society overlooks are the very ones who see the clearest. Martha drove home, with Big Mike's card in her purse and a story she couldn't wait to tell her Sunday school class. She had a feeling they wouldn't believe it, but then again, the best miracles are often the ones we least expect. The bank, meanwhile, faced an investigation into discriminatory practices. Officer Reynolds and his partner received remedial training on implicit bias and proper procedures. And the bank manager. He found himself unemployed by the end of the week, but for Martha Williams, the real change was internal. She'd spent 73 years learning to make herself smaller, quieter, less threatening. Today, she'd been reminded that she had every right to take up space, to demand respect, to be heard, and she had the Hells Angels to thank for it. 3 weeks after the incident at First National Bank, Martha Williams sat in her small kitchen, the morning sun streaming through yellow curtains as she prepared her Sunday lesson. The card Big Mike had given her sat on her refrigerator, held in place by a magnet shaped like a sunflower, James's favorite. She smiled every time she saw it. Her phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was her daughter, Patricia. "Mama, have you seen the news?" Patricia's voice was urgent. "What news, baby?" "It's everywhere. That video from the bank, it went viral. Millions of views. People are calling you Mrs. Martha and the Hells Angels are being called heroes. There's even a GoFundMe someone started for you." Martha's hand trembled slightly. "A GoFundMe? Patricia, I don't need charity." "Mama, it's not charity. It's people showing support. They raised over $100,000. They want to help you." Martha sat down heavily. $100,000. It was more money than James had made in 5 years of work. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll accept it. Say you'll let people show you love." After hanging up, Martha stared at the card on her refrigerator. She picked up her phone and dialed the number. "Yeah." Big Mike's gruff voice answered. "Mr. Mike. This is Martha Williams." His tone immediately softened. "Mrs. Martha. How are you?" "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. But I need your help with something." "Name it." "If people want to give me this money, I want to do something meaningful with it. Something for the community. Can you meet me?" "I have an idea." 2 days later, Martha sat in a small diner with Big Mike, Preacher, and 3 other club members, a woman named Razor, a quiet man called Ghost, and a younger member named Tommy. "Here's what I'm thinking," Martha spread papers across the table. "The community center where I volunteer is struggling. We need repairs, new equipment, programs for kids. What if we used the money to fix it up? Make it a real safe space?" Razor leaned forward, her leather jacket creaking. "I like it. Kids need places to go, things to do. Keeps them out of trouble." "There's more," Martha continued. "I want to start a program that brings different communities together. Young and old. Black, white, brown. Bikers, bankers, everyone. We have free meals, tutoring, job training, legal clinics." Preacher smiled. You're talking about building bridges. Exactly. What happened at that bank? It happened because people didn't see each other as human. They saw categories. Threats. If we can get people in the same room, breaking bread together, maybe we can change that. Big Mike nodded slowly. The club's in. We'll donate labor for the repairs. We've got guys who can do electrical, plumbing, carpentry. And we'll spread the word in the biker community. I can handle the legal structure, Preacher added. Set it up as a non-profit, make sure everything's legitimate. I can recruit other women riders, Razor said. A lot of us come from tough backgrounds. We can mentor kids, especially girls who need to see strong women. Ghost, who'd been silent until now, finally spoke. My sister's a teacher. Lost her job last year due to budget cuts. She'd probably volunteer to run tutoring programs. Tommy, the youngest, looked nervous. Mrs. Martha, I dropped out of high school. But I'm good with computers. I could teach kids tech skills, maybe. Martha reached across the table and squeezed his hand. Tommy, that's perfect. Kids need to learn those skills, and they'd learn better from someone who speaks their language. 6 weeks later, the community center's grand reopening drew a crowd that spilled out onto the street. The building gleamed with fresh paint. New windows sparkled. Inside, renovated classrooms and a commercial kitchen awaited, but the real magic was in who showed up. Hell's Angels members stood beside church ladies. Teenagers in hoodies chatted with seniors in their Sunday best. The local police chief, a different man than those who'd arrested Martha, came to offer support, clearly trying to rebuild trust. Martha stood at the podium, looking out at the sea of faces. Patricia sat in the front row, tears already streaming down her face. 3 months ago, Martha began, I was humiliated in a bank for trying to conduct legal business. I was judged not by my character, but by the color of my skin and the assumptions in someone's mind. The crowd murmured in recognition. Many had similar stories. But something else happened that day. A group of strangers, people society often judges harshly, stood up for me. They saw injustice and couldn't walk away. The Hell's Angels reminded me that courage comes in unexpected packages, and that family isn't just blood, it's who shows up when you need them. Big Mike shifted uncomfortably in his seat, unused to praise. This center, Martha continued, gesturing around her, is proof that when we come together, when we see each other as human beings first, we can build something beautiful. This isn't my center, or the Hell's Angels center, or the church's center. This is our center. All of us. The applause was thunderous. As the crowd dispersed to explore the facility and share a meal, Martha noticed a young black teenager standing alone near the door, looking uncertain. She approached him. You okay, sweetheart? The boy, maybe 16, looked down. I'm Marcus. My mom made me come. She said you help kids who've been in trouble with the law. Martha nodded. We do. You had some trouble. Got arrested for shoplifting 6 months ago. Now I've got a record. No one will hire me. I'm trying to stay out of trouble, but it's hard when you're hungry and your mom's working 3 jobs. Come with me, Martha said gently. She led Marcus to the kitchen where Razor was organizing the food service. Razor, this is Marcus. He's looking for work. Razor studied the boy with sharp eyes. You know anything about motorcycles? Marcus's eyes lit up. I used to help my uncle work on cars before he moved away. I'm good with engines. Good. My shop needs help on weekends. Minimum wage to start, but if you're reliable and learn fast, that goes up. Interested? Marcus looked like he might cry. Yes, Thank you. One rule, Razor said firmly. You stay in school. You bring me progress reports. Grade slip, the job's gone. Deal? Deal. As Marcus rushed off to tell his mother, Razor turned to Martha. You did that on purpose. Martha smiled innocently. Did what? Brought him to me instead of one of the guys. You knew I'd see myself in him. I knew you'd give him a fair chance. Sometimes that's all people need. As the evening wore on, Martha found herself surrounded by an unlikely family. Big Mike was teaching a group of children how to safely sit on his motorcycle, while their nervous parents watched. Preacher was offering free legal consultations in one of the classrooms. Ghost's sister was signing up students for tutoring sessions. Tommy was showing teenagers how to code. Patricia approached her mother, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Daddy would be so proud. Martha's eyes filled with tears. You think so? I know so. He always said you had enough love in you to fix the whole world. Looks like you're trying. I'm not trying to fix the world, Martha said softly. Just my little corner of it. A commotion at the door drew their attention. A news crew had arrived, and with them, the bank manager, who'd called the police on Martha. He looked years older, his face haggard. Big Mike moved to intercept him, but Martha held up a hand. "It's okay," she said, approaching the man who'd humiliated her. "Mrs. Williams," he said, his voice shaking. "I came to apologize. Properly. I let my prejudices cloud my judgment. I treated you horribly, and I've paid the price, but not nearly what you paid. I lost my job, but you could have lost your freedom, your dignity, your life." The crowd had gone silent, watching. "I don't expect forgiveness," he continued. "I just wanted you to know that I've spent every day since asking myself how I became that person. I've started volunteering with civil rights organizations. I'm trying to do better." Martha studied him for a long moment. James's voice echoed in her mind. "Bitterness is a burden, Martha. Don't carry it if you don't have to." "What's your name?" she asked. "David. David Chen." "David, are you looking for work?" He blinked in surprise. "Yes, but we need someone to manage donations and coordinate with local businesses. Someone who understands how institutions work, who can navigate bureaucracy. Someone who's learning to check their biases and do better." "Interested?" David's mouth fell open. "You'd hire me? After what I did? I'd give you a chance to make amends. That's what this place is about, second chances, building bridges, choosing love over hate. But David, if you ever treat anyone the way you treated me, you're done. Understood?" "Yes, understood." As David was led away to fill out paperwork, Big Mike shook his head in amazement. "Mrs. Martha, you're something else." "No," Martha said, watching David's retreating form. "I'm just tired of the cycle. Someone has to break it." 3 months later, Martha's place, as the community center had been unofficially renamed, was thriving. Over 200 kids enrolled in after-school programs. The free legal clinic had helped 40 families. The job training program had a 90% placement rate, but the real success was harder to quantify. It was in the way police officers now stopped by to play basketball with kids instead of just showing up when there was trouble. It was in the way elderly white couples started attending the Sunday dinners, drawn by curiosity, and staying for connection. It was in the way Marcus, now Razor Star employee, was mentoring younger kids who'd been in trouble with the law. It was in the way Tommy, the high school dropout, had enrolled in community college, and was studying computer science. It was in the way David Chen arrived early every morning and stayed late every night, driven by a need to atone that had transformed into genuine love for the work. One Saturday afternoon, Martha sat on the center's front steps, taking a rare break. Big Mike joined her, 2 cups of coffee in hand. "Tired?" he asked. "Exhausted," she admitted. "And happier than I've been in years." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the activity in the parking lot. A group of Hell's Angels were teaching motorcycle safety to interested teenagers under careful supervision. Patricia was leading a knitting circle that included women from 6 different backgrounds. Preacher was helping a young couple fill out immigration paperwork. "You know what I think?" Big Mike said. "I think that bank manager did us all a favor." Martha raised an eyebrow. "How's that?" "He showed us who we really are. Not who society says we are, not the labels and categories, but who we are when it matters. He showed me that a bunch of bikers could be heroes. He showed you that you could be a revolutionary. He showed all of us that family and community aren't about looking the same or coming from the same place. They're about showing up." Martha nodded slowly. James used to say that sometimes God uses our worst moments to reveal our best selves. I think he was right. Your husband sounds like he was a wise man. He was. I wish he could see this. Maybe he can, Big Mike said gently. As if in response, a warm breeze rustled the leaves of the oak tree overhead, the same tree where James had proposed 54 years ago. Martha smiled. Maybe he could see. Maybe he was proud. Maybe this was exactly what he'd meant when he'd always told her she was capable of extraordinary things. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Mrs. Martha, this is Jamal. You don't know me, but my brother Marcus works for Razor. I just got out of prison last week. Marcus said you might have room for one more at Sunday dinner." Martha typed back immediately, "We always have room. See you Sunday. Bring whoever needs a meal." She showed the text to Big Mike, who chuckled. "You know he's going to bring half a dozen people." "Good," Martha said. "We'll need to make more food." As the sun set over Martha's place, the building glowed with warmth and light and laughter, a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needed it, and inside, an elderly black woman and a motorcycle club were proving that the most powerful force in the universe isn't hate or fear or prejudice. It's love. And it's always stronger than we think. 1 year later, Martha's place had expanded to 3 locations across the city. The model was being replicated in 7 other states. Martha had been invited to speak at the United Nations about community-based reconciliation, and every single week, without fail, the Hells Angels showed up. Helping, protecting, serving, because that's what family does. And Martha Williams, a woman who went to a bank to deposit a check and left with an army of unlikely angels, had built something that would outlive them all. A place where everyone belonged. A place where labels didn't matter. A place called home.